Okay, hi everyone, it's Jonathan here, COO of Weave, and welcome to this AMA update video. So first of all, I just wanted to sort of apologize, I guess, that it's been a little bit quiet, I guess, on our side. I wanted to say though, right at the outset, this is nothing to do with like our dedication to this project. It's purely to do with us having quite a lot of sort of difficult issues, which we're going to talk about in this video. And, you know, we've still been working very, very hard on this project. We've just had quite a few things come up over the last few sort of weeks and months that we've had to sort of contend with, but we're kind of through that now. And so today we want to just update you on kind of what's been going on and where we're at right now, and then obviously talk to you a little bit about what we've got coming in the near future. So yeah, we will be explaining more about all these different challenges. I just wanted to sort of make it very, very clear though from the outset that like, whilst we have had delays and we've had some frustrations, like our conviction for this project has never been stronger. And I feel like we've actually come out of this now a lot stronger, and hopefully you'll get to understand a little bit about what I mean by that throughout this AMA. So I was going to actually do this AMA on my own, but actually the other co-founders were really keen just to come on as well and just explain things from their side. And I think it's good for you just to see kind of where we're all at as well. But yeah, we are still super pumped and excited about this project. But we'll start by just explaining, I think, some of the tech challenges and some of the other challenges that we've had, and then we'll jump into some of the questions. Now, just a quick point about some of the questions that we had. We've had quite a lot of questions, and thank you for those of you that submitted those questions. Quite a few of them are quite sort of similar, so I've sort of brought together key themes. Quite a few of you had a few questions about specific like ways to use the dApp and like what certain buttons do and things like that. We probably won't get into that kind of thing in this. This is just more of a broad update, but we will try and perhaps run some workshops very soon so that people can really understand exactly how to get the most out of the dApp and things like that. So we will address those kind of more like user issues in other content going forward. But also don't forget, if you need any kind of help and support when you're actually using the dApp, then please head over to Discord and Telegram, because that's a great place to get support. There's always people there that will be keen to help you. All right, so let's kick off then with an update. And Andreas, do you want to get us started with kind of, I guess, talking about some of the challenges that we've been facing and what we've been doing to overcome them?
Yes, for sure. Thank you. So the first thing also from me, I wanted to apologize to the community that I not have been as active in the past few weeks. There have been quite a lot of personal stuff holding me back, and a few things happened in my personal surrounding. This stuff is over. Everything is resolved and everything is past me. So I'm back with full force also for the community side, and will try to engage way more with you guys and be more active as I've been before on Discord and Telegram, and give my full attention to Weave and the community. All major technical challenges which we faced have been overcome. What we have been doing in the past few weeks, and what we've now doing also, is rolling out structural changes to the team and implement more processes to handle the capacity of the dev team better, to be more visible with our changes for you. Basically not only dev work, but also to improve the organizational part of everyone in the team, and also the devs on this part. For the passive users, I know that there have been a few bugs for you, which we are working on. And this is also where it comes down to our the function in our structure and our deployment structure and everything that will make for us easier to roll out changes to you sooner and to react way quicker to potential issues which will occur. We've done actually a lot of work in the background of the dApp right now, and a lot of work is under the hood and is not visible, and another part of the work is also not live yet. This is unfortunately due to the bottleneck of deployment and testing and what we have done, because we want to provide a good experience for our users when we deploy things. And even if there are issues you might have been facing, keep in mind that this is a really complex infrastructure what we built, and it's while we are testing a lot and try to catch each edge case, it's difficult for us to envision how our users use our dApp. There is so much you can do with it, and how to interact with different contracts and with different amount of funds, different structures basically. So it's a few issues might just become apparent when they occur, but we are doing what we can to also improve on the process to solve these issues way quicker in the future and be way more responsive in our updates for you. Right now, our main focus is on testing the dApp. So the upcoming week and upcoming 2 weeks will be in rolling out whatever is in our backlog, make sure that everything is working properly. We will make sure there are no bugs around. We will listen to the user feedback and try to improve the small quirks which platform have also from the usability perspective. So our main focus is really to get the dApp to a state where everyone is happy and you don't feel like something important is missing for your kind of usage you expect from the dApp, and what you want to have it to be actually using it in a broad way and in a really complex way. Yeah, and some things I can give an example of what's already built and just needs testing. It's, for example, Pancake Swap integration is currently being tested. The change of weight adjustment. Right now, if a strategy operates, it splits all the funds into the next, I call it levels. On a 50-50% basis, we said that we want our users to also adjust how much funds should move to each step. And this is also currently in testing. And for these kind of changes, of course, if a new integration comes in, you need to create a new strategy. But for example, the weight adjustments is something which you can do also with your old strategy. So you will be added to your old strategy and adjust them, the configuration as much as you like. And for that, we also, what we're currently doing is bringing a test environment also for our users. So who is keen on testing new stuff out and help us with the testing process will be able to engage with it and see what we are working on and what is currently in testing also for the users.
Something I just thought I'd touch on as well, related to kind of things that we've changed, things that have been going on in the background. So from an operations point of view, we've realized over the past few months that there's been an awful lot that we need to get a proper grip on. So we brought in Harry from the Weave community to help us out there. And he's been really helping us forwards with things like communication within the team, within the different areas. So between development and the community side, just really trying to improve that to make sure that everything's working properly, but also making sure that we're doing our testing processes so that, yeah, when new features are pushed, so as Andreas was talking about, that we can really get those out as efficiently as possible whilst not compromising at all on the quality of what we're doing. But yeah, really happy to have Harry on board. He's been doing a really good job.
Yeah, and just to add in as well, I feel like we've overcome, we've had a lot of problems over the last few months, and we've overcome like a great deal of them, from like personal matters, which are just completely outside of our control, to just streamlining everything and just making our processes a lot smoother, and meaning that we can scale a lot better. But also just generally, you know, blockchain technology is difficult to work with anyway, right? And you know, this is new technology that we're working on, and DeFi itself is just literally only a few years old. So, you know, I follow a lot of projects myself, and I can't think of any of them that have hit like their exact sort of timeframes. Everyone's, you know, kind of getting to grips with things, learning as they go along. You know, look at like Ethereum, they're upgrading to their version 2. They're 7 years overdue in delivering this, and it looks like they may even be delayed again. You know, I'm quite passionate about Cardano as well, but again, that project is just taking years and years and years, and it's just kind of part of where we're at with this technology. And I'm not trying to make kind of excuses here. You know, we know that we've not hit our timelines, and we wanted to do that, and we've been looking and scrutinizing why we've missed those. but there are certain things as well which are kind of outside of our control. And you know, this blockchain space is, you know, it is challenging to work with. So, you know, I don't feel like it's by any means kind of like just us. It is just, you know, even, you know, huge projects with massive teams and things like that, you know, that they're all experiencing kind of similar frustrations and things to us as well.
Yes, and also keep in mind that Weave is not a fork of an existing platform. We are building what we are doing completely from scratch. Something what we are doing is not around, and it's not as easy as going to GitHub, grab the code and set up your just a copy. I'm not talking bad about other projects forking stuff, and it's everyone has their challenges to overcome, but Weave is on another level, and this is something which we are pioneering in. So the comparison with Cardano and Ethereum isn't that far off, actually, because we have the same high ambitions with this project. It's something which we're planning over several years. As I've always said, that we're not for the quick bucks here. We're building a technology which will last, and this is still our goal, and we're making good progress on it. It's just that we are doing things in such a different way and so complex that you can't compare us much with your traditional smaller projects, I would say.
Yeah, just to give an example as well of one of the challenges that we've faced over the past months and since our launch. So about the time that we were going to launch, we already had PancakeSwap integrated into our strategy builder, and we were really excited to start showing people how they could get involved with their farms. But unfortunately, pretty much on the same day, PancakeSwap announced that they were going to upgrade all of their contracts to a newer version, which unfortunately meant they weren't compatible with the ones that we'd integrated into our platform, which meant we had to redo that that development work again. And that just shows part of the problem that we're solving as well, because of the fragmentation of the DeFi system and the lack of communication. We really want to be focusing on improving that for everyone and bringing it all into one place, and yeah, not striving from that original vision that we've had when we set out on the project.
Yeah, so we've already built the core technology behind this. So now we're actually looking at, this is improvements now. We're already at the stage where we're doing new integrations, we're improving the user interface, and that will be an ongoing journey. But we've overcome, from a tech point of view, we have already overcome the biggest hurdles. And so I'll ask you a direct question, Andreas, here. What are your thoughts? What are the chances now that we failed to deliver on the technology and the white paper? How likely is that?
The chances are zero, basically. We are also working in our white paper. For example, we talk about cross-chain strategies and moving in between, and we are in great discussion with partners, with bridges and everything to make this happen. And it's already became aware that this is something which we can overcome and we can deliver on it. The base functionality, as you said, our backend is working, the strategy builder is working. And also for the users who are facing the issues, I know from a developer perspective that it feels often like if I go to a social community like Telegram or Discord and I see questions and problems, it might appear that, well, other people are facing the issues. Yes, there are other people facing some issues, but if everything is working, people won't be that active and vocal on the social and on the community side. So just because people don't write, it is working for me, this does not mean that it's not working for everyone. It's, if something is working, you just are happy that it's working and you use it and you stick to it. So just also as a quick catch up, but coming back to your question, the chances are basically zero to that we are not delivering on what we said in our white paper.
Yeah, pending some massive, you know, cataclysmic event where, you know, the internet goes down or something like that, which is completely outside of our control. But, you know, yeah, we're pretty much there with it, and like we've been saying, a lot of the stuff has been built and it's sort of in testing, ready to go live. So we see a lot more of it being complete, obviously, than probably you guys do, but we're very, very close on pushing all these sort of things live as well. Okay, so let's crack on then with the first question then, shall we? So why was Weave launched when the platform is not fully ready and unable to meet the timeline on the roadmap? So we've already kind of covered this, but Stephen, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to launch the platform as soon as possible so that the users can start to build strategies and so that pros could start earning yield straight away. And we, obviously you guys have been with us along the way for that process. So the smart contract side of the platform, as we've already mentioned, has been working flawlessly since it was pushed live to the chain. But we've had a few bugs on the front end, which has caused some issues and confusion with people using the dApp itself. But despite that, pros are still able to publish and share strategies. And I think where we found the issues have come in is on the passive side, where there's been important features such as usernames that we've been wanting to roll out for a little while now, just to make it much more simple for people to understand. And so you can follow the people that you want to and the strategies that you want to. And yeah, something else that we're working on as well is a description area where pros can talk about the strategy more and link their social media channels and things like that, just to make it much more simple and much easier to jump into the strategy builder as we really want you to be able to. So there's updates like this coming in the coming weeks. So I think it'll probably be around 2 to 4 weeks before we are at that level of polish that we're personally happy with. As you know, we have very high standards and we're fully aware that we've not met them, but we really want to focus on that and are committed to delivering it as best as we possibly can.
Cool. Great. So next question. Can we expect some beginner material to support the passive users with little to no experience? So yeah, I'll take this one. And the answer is absolutely categorically yes. I'm definitely going to be putting out training material. So it's only because we've wanted to add these extra features, really. I think some of the people that are wanting to be more on the passive side have felt like we've kind of ignored them or forgotten about them. That's absolutely not the case. It's actually more to do with wanting the experience to be better. We can't just hand over raw technology, really. So that's why the pro side has been working fine. People can build strategies, publish them, that's all working really smoothly, but that feels a bit raw, and we want the ability for more involvement, more communication between pros and passive users, that type of thing. So we've been building more things to make that experience a lot easier for passive users, and just ways that people can like search for different strategies and things like that. So basically that's all I've been waiting on. I'm really keen to put out training material, some step-by-step guides. Perhaps again, if people are interested, we could run some like workshops and people can come on and just ask questions and just have it as like a really friendly space to people to ask, very basic questions about this kind of thing. Because, we are very committed to sort of helping people that are new into DeFi to kind of upskill and learn more about it. It's just that we just didn't want to launch that. I could have done those videos 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever, but actually, the experience wouldn't quite have been right. So these things are absolutely coming along with, actually, we're updating the Weave Academy as well, just to make that a bit more user-friendly, a bit easier to navigate and that type of thing. So definitely a lot more to come on the passive side. Next question. Where do I begin being a newbie but interested in getting started with Weave Passive, and any how-to videos, instructions would be helpful? So similar sort of thing, really. Basically, yes, we are going to have a lot more videos coming, a lot more training and education is planned. So we want people who have not just new to DeFi, but perhaps even people that are completely new to crypto to be able to sort of just land on the Weave homepage and be able to go from there right the way through their journey. And so some of the things we may touch on again later, we want like an on-ramp, for example, so that people can just pull out their debit card. They can buy the Weave token, for example, or they can buy BUSD straight from our dApp. They don't need to be going to other places. And then they're just they can come through that journey then of finding strategies, copying strategies, and all those kind of things. So we really want that journey to be nice and easy, but obviously that comes with sort of guidance and training and things like that, which I'm super keen to put out. So definitely this is coming very, very soon. can a tech stack workflow or dev roadmap be made available so we can see what you're working on so that things are more transparent? Andreas, do you want to take that one?
Yes, for sure. We've already been providing updates when they've been pushed live, but because also of the basically that we've been pushing updates in big chunks, and this might feel then that, well, it's not that engaging with the community. So also with our changes, what have happened here internally is that we will roll out our updates way more quicker and on individual levels. So that means that you will see them more frequently and you will see what's going on more frequently. But we can definitely also work on providing more internal material, and where we're at, give a dev roadmap, what we're currently working on, and give you a better overview of the process behind, so that you can verify that we're working our butts off and that everyone is doing what they can.
Yeah, this is a big part of what Harry's been brought in to do as well. So he's kind of like our go-between. He's organizing the dev team a lot more closely and making sure that things are super efficient on that side, but also kind of helping us on the other side, the non-dev side, to kind of understand like what the timeframes are and what's being worked on, and then we're organizing what we want to come next and things. So Harry's a key part of that, and so we're getting more transparency ourselves on exactly what's being worked on and what the timeframes are. So I don't see any reason why we can't sort of push that live, you know, and share that more openly with the community as well. Now that we're sort of sharing that internally, I don't see any reason why we can't push that out to the community as well, and so that you guys can see what's coming. And please feel free as well to give us feedback and thoughts. You know, if there's integrations in particular that you're really keen on, you know, tell us maybe why you want that integration, what it is that you think it'll bring to the platform, and you know, we'll definitely try and integrate that. We want to sort of listen to the type of sort of liquidity pools and farms and things like that you want to integrate. So please feel free to kind of help to sculpt what we're sort of working on as well, particularly once we get this backlog cleared. Then, you know, we've got a list of about 100 protocols that we want to integrate. Prioritizing them can be a bit of a challenge, you know, which one should come before another one, but we definitely want to be hearing your thoughts on these things. Okay, next question. If resources are a problem for getting the project moving faster, have you considered pitching the idea for some big investment companies? Andreas, maybe you want to just talk a little bit about the resource side on this.
Yes, so the dev resources are not a problem right now. We are actually building faster than we can push things live or could push things live. We have so our devs are, if I might say so, pretty good. I'm very happy with everyone on our team, and they've been working non-stop all the time. The problem much more is to get the stuff out to you, to our users, and not the resource side of actually developing it. And this is also where our restructure of the organization part comes in, and also our different kind of deployment testing, that we made the deployment process way smoother, that we made our testing process way smoother. The core, what has been done and what needs to be done is getting the updates out to you as quick as possible. The bottleneck is not the development time. The bottleneck is actually to deliver to you a state where we are happy with and can say, well, this is good enough for our community. And we tried to test everything as much as we can, and everything should be good to go, and then push this updates live. So the dev resources are not a problem at all for us right now. We are actually in good shape where it comes to the dev resources.
Yeah, and just to add quickly there as well, that whilst we have sort of identified the bottleneck of like things being built quicker than we can push them live, we've actually now come up with a solution to that as well. So we're going to be pushing things live a lot faster now than we ever have done in the past. So you should see a real acceleration in change and improvements coming to the dApp going forward? Because again, these are sort of things, you know, we've identified these problems and we've been working hard to fix them.
The chip in there as well regarding pitching to investors. So we have done that. We've spoken to quite a lot of VCs about funding and how we can raise that with them. But it's really been quite challenging because VCs are not too keen on any investments at all currently. And I think also it's a bit of a double-edged sword because having more funds is really good, but of course it does come with the downside of them taking a huge chunk of tokens, and because of the market conditions currently, investors such as those aren't willing to compromise on things like vesting schedules, and our priority is to make the project sustainable. And if our token is just being detracted from continuously by these VCs, then that's not good for us at all. I think, yeah, we're really targeting organic growth without VC funding, because yeah, that will overall just be better for you guys and, you know, better for the project as a whole for the long term.
Yeah, and we did. I did answer a question recently just in the Discord group. I think someone was asking about, you know, with it being a bear market, and, you know, I think there's a lot of expectation almost that a lot of projects are going to kind of fail, not survive the bear market and so on. I've already sort of talked about the fact that, you know, we're here to stay and we're here for the long run. And fortunately, we've also done the vast majority of the dev work that needs to be done. I mean, can you imagine right now being like a metaverse project where you're only 2 years into a 10-year project and, you know, you need a lot of money? We don't particularly need huge sums of money now because, you know, we had a seed funder, like a silent partner, an angel investor, if you will, that came in to help us get to this point. You know, we've got funds plenty to get everything live and to grow, and then we should just be stood on our own 2 feet. You know, we should have revenue coming in, you know, like any other business would expect to cover their costs from that. So, you know, it's not in terms of, like, I suppose, thinking about the financial side, you know, I just want to reassure people really that we're fine from that point of view, especially because when it comes to this kind of technology, you know, the real intensive work, the real cost is in the design and the initial build of it, right? I kind of think of it in my mind a bit like a Formula One racing car, right? If, you know, putting the petrol in that Formula One racing car is not where the cost is, right? So, you know, that car has cost an absolute fortune in research, in, you know, building each small part, you know, expensive materials, then the manufacturing, bringing it all together. And then once it's on the track, you know, it costs virtually nothing to actually keep it running. And so for us, even in the absolute worst case scenario, you know, that we go into next year and, you know, we're not able to just kind of sustain ourselves with our current sort of size and the speed at which we're able to kind of keep growing and adding integrations, we can still scale back a little bit and just run for years, like years and years. So this dApp now will run for years and years. It will now run indefinitely, because even if we have to, like I say, scale back, we can still run the dApp. You know, running the dApp is not the expensive part, basically, in this project. So I don't want anyone to have any kind of worries around that. If we get a good offer, like from a VC, you know, I suppose it would be useful maybe from like a marketing point of view and things like that. But again, it comes with its drawbacks as well. So there's not necessarily like an ideal situation. I think right now our current thoughts are that we'd probably rather continue ourselves and independently and be able to make our own decisions and not have like potentially loads of sale pressure on it. And by the way, we do have a token allocation for VCs, and if we don't sell those tokens, I mean, I for one, I'm fully in favor of burning those tokens, right? So that just makes the token even scarcer. So, you know, these are other, I guess, things that we're considering and things that we want to try and do kind of for the betterment of the project and for you guys in the community as well. What is being done to create more strategies that are viable? As a user, it's hard to have confidence in any of the current strategies being offered on the dApp. So yeah, this comes back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier with the improvements that we want to see on the passive side. So again, like searching for good quality strategies is not actually that kind of easy, and it's not that user friendly at the moment. That's a big part of what we want to be working on. So we need people to be able to search very easily. So this is where like usernames will be important. So if there's a certain influencer, we want to do quite a lot of work with influencers to create pro strategies. If you land on our dApp, having watched a video from that introducer, you should just be able to quickly search for their username and it will bring up their strategies that they've built. And then you can have a look at each of their strategies and decide which one's kind of best for you, right? But you don't want to have to be trawling through like a long list. We also need like other search features as well, things like TVL. So you know which are the more popular strategies, and for those that kind of want to see maybe ones that people have got more confidence in, etc. We also want to be able to have more like of a snapshot of what the strategy looks like, so that rather than clicking it, you can click each one now and it'll open up the actual strategy and you can see what's kind of contained within that and how it works. But we kind of just want a quick snippet overview and things like that. So that's it does feel a bit raw. We definitely know that right now it's not that easy for passive users to kind of get excited about the kind of strategies. Another big part of it, by the way, is the APRs and the APYs as well. We've been really working very hard. This has been a big challenge for us to overcome, actually, is having dynamic APRs, so that as things get tweaked and changed in the strategy as it's built, you know, the compounding's added or new LPs are added at different levels and things like that, we have a calculation that will actually give you the sort of final APR and make that as accurate as we can possibly make that. That's actually a really challenging thing to do when there's so many different elements and so many different ways that people can interact with the dApp. But that's something that we're super keen on. So again, you can search for like, if you're bullish on one token, there might be 5 different strategies on that token that will show you like different APRs, and that's because they're being used in different ways. They're being integrated into the strategy in different ways. And so, you know, you might have very high APR or very low APR, but for the same token. And I think that's a really interesting aspect of it, but it's something that we need to get just right. So again, you know, these are all things that we've been really working on, and we're almost there with all of these things. But definitely it's like a really important thing for us, for there to be lots of different ways. And again, we'll take feedback once we feel like we've kind of done everything we can. We'll take more feedback to say what else can we add, because we just want to keep improving it and adding to it all the time.
Yeah, so talking about some of those improvements, both in the strategy builder and how we approach pro users. So soon they'll be able to, as you go in, you'll be able to see the risk level of each strategy. So currently we're quantifying with APR and APY, but we'll be working with our insurance partner to kind of narrow that down, and also be looking at some of our own parameters as well, so we can really guide you guys in the right direction when it comes to what risk you're willing to take with the strategies. And myself and some of the other team members would also be rolling out some initiatives to encourage more strategies from existing pro users. And also a growth strategy to bring in new pro users as well, to see that just to make sure that we have loads of good quality strategies available for you guys to copy on all of the chains that we're on. Something else that's coming as well, which I'm personally really excited for, are official strategies from our partners. So some of our team members are having phone calls and really good conversations with some of our partners, such as Hector Network, who will be fine-tuning their strategies and setting those up within the Weave platform, which will not only give you guys a good solution for copying those well-vetted strategies, but also it will allow the communities of our partners to come in and also put TVL into the Weave platform, which is definitely a win-win situation for both sides of that partner relationship. And as Johnny mentioned as well, similar things we'll be able to do for influencers as well, and kind of just officially recognize some influencers, just to make sure that you guys aren't being confused, and that you're able to select the exact strategy that you want to when you come into the dApp.
Okay, great. So next question. It has been discouraging to see the slow start to Weave. Will there be a moment in the future when the momentum will pick up? I'll take this one because, you know, it's quite a clear yes. I mean, hopefully you can see kind of all the challenges that we've kind of already overcome. We've not really been able to go into like an aggressive kind of growth phase until we get the technology just right, but we are really genuinely at the back end of that now. And so, you know, not only will things happen more quickly on the dev side, but you will see us being a lot more active and proactive, definitely on like the marketing side, the sales side, and things like that. So 100% yes, momentum will be picking up in a big way. We're kind of like, we're just itching to get going. Like certainly on my side, myself and Stephen and the marketing team, etc. We've got big plans. There's a lot that we want to do. We've just wanted to make sure that the technology is right before we really start going at it full pelt. So when will mobile view Android be available? Andreas?
Yes, so the mobile view is already pretty solid for the staking part and the passive overview. The problem with mobile view is currently on the strategy builder itself. This definitely has been built with a PC in mind and a bigger desktop, because it's difficult to give this kind of functionality on a really small screen and give you all the options and everything there. So we will be working on optimizing there for the future and see if we can find a solution. But for now, the strategy builder is definitely built with the desktop in mind and with a bigger screen.
Okay, great. I think this is another one for you, Andreas. When will the TVL and rewards issue be fixed on the dApp for published strategies?
This has been fixed with the latest update. We had some problems with our backend also not being that transparent, that users are not seeing the rewards being moved on chain directly for them. And it was pretty difficult to just trace the stuff by yourself, which we already improved. But as I said in the beginning, there are always some edge cases which we might have missed. So if users are experiencing problems right now with not seeing their rewards and everything, for the majority of people, this is working, and we are working on delivering a fix for you also if you're facing this issue as soon as possible. And this is part of our big release cycle for the next upcoming weeks, basically.
Yeah, and this was something that we have talked quite a lot about as well, because I think it's important to note that everything, as always with the strategy builder, everything's been deployed perfectly onto the actual blockchain. It's more just our kind of back end, not necessarily pulling in the data correctly. So it's more to do with what you're seeing, not what's actually happening on the blockchain. So what this led us actually to thinking about one thing that we can potentially do and add into the strategy builder once you've published the strategy, is have some kind of link, some kind of way that you can actually go and see the raw data on the blockchain, so that even if for whatever reason you're not quite seeing things the way you think they should be on the dApp itself, you can just double check that everything's actually working properly from the blockchain side of things. So I think that's something that we've talked about, and that we will look to kind of implement that kind of extra functionality, I suppose, in the coming months.
Yes, and I remember also that people have been saying on social media, if you say it's an UI issue, why does it take so long? So UI is front end, and this is basically also the interaction with the chain. A normal UI just talks in a centralized environment to a server. There's nothing in between. But we are talking to our backend, to the blockchain itself, need to collect the data, need to interact with the blockchain. Blockchain interaction can get frustrating at some point. So there is a little bit more to front end work than you might think in the beginning. And this is why some changes, if we say, well, this is a visual chain and it operates perfectly fine on blockchain, but the blockchain itself is an encapsulated environment. It will work no matter what you do. You don't need to interact with it. As soon as stuff goes on the blockchain, it's basically there. So the challenges and the problems are within the interaction with the blockchain, pulling the data and showing it properly to you.
Awesome. Okay, great. So next question then, what is the real actual percentage reward for both Weave and the Weave LP? The homepage is showing it as 24% and 63% at the moment, respectively, versus 12.5% and 25.35% APR in my current staking portfolio.
Yes, for sure, I can answer that. So the APR shown on the front page should be fixed for you guys and show the APR for the staking and LP staking without taking weighting into your account. The current APR for Weave single staking is 12.5%. The Weave LP APR is 31.7%. without any milestone bonuses taking onto account. And when you look at the staking app itself, or the staking part of our dApp, then you will see your APR and Weave per day rewards taking your milestones into consideration there. And just to give as an overview, maybe a little bit more of the numbers and stakers, we currently have 72% of people being long-time hodlers and auto-compounding and using our auto-compound feature. So we have a total of 1,174 owners of Weave token, and 844 of them are basically long-term compounding and using the auto-compound feature on our dApp.
Yeah, and those numbers are very, very impressive, especially considering we're in a bear market and there's so much fear around. You know, to be north of 70% of people actually auto compounding is I think just shows the long-term commitment I think that our holders have. We've got a very special community. Well over 1,000 people hold the token and things as well. Again, you know, considering where we're at, you know, at the moment in terms of the global outlook and things, I think that's absolutely incredible. I think also I think that the tokenomics, I think, stand up well because people don't necessarily want to sell and then lose like their milestones and things like that. So I think the tokenomics help here as well. But just a reminder to people that this has been the best year really to be accruing this token, because we've had so many extra bonuses that we've paid out. Like we gave away free tokens in December. We had a boosted January to give out more tokens to people for staking. And we've also got the boost going out throughout this year. So next year, the actual staking rewards, as in what we pay out, will be less. And obviously we expect as we grow that you know, there'll be more people in the staking pool, which will actually bring down people's rewards. So this year has been like the perfect year really to be accruing as much Weave as you possibly can. And I think people really kind of get that. I think that's reflected in those numbers for sure. Okay, moving on to the next question. So what happened to the fees that we were to get back monthly? So just to be clear, this is the fee distribution on the kind of tax, if you want to call it that, for when people are trading in and out of the token. And people were able to claim that earlier in the year. You can manually claim those fees as we distribute them, but it has been paused. So Andreas, do you want to take this one?
Yes. So we are still collecting the fees. They are being sent to our fee distributor contract. They are still being collected. The problem is that the distribution of the fees has been still not automated fully and needs manual work to be done. And we've been focusing on bringing updates live. And this unfortunately has not been focused on that much. So we will get back to it after the crunch time we have set for us now for the dApp to make everything perfect on the dApp for you guys. And after that, we will start dripping the fees out to you over the next month.
Okay, so the next question is, what marketing strategies planned to attract new investors to the platform? So we've actually had quite a number of questions about the marketing. I think it's like a really important area, of course. And, you know, as we move into this growth phase, it is all going to be about the marketing and attracting new users. We had quite a few questions around the marketing side, so I'll just try and cover as much as I can real quick now, just to give as much detail as possible. So we basically have quite a number of ways that we want to try and get the word out about this. We're certainly not short of ideas and things that we can do. I want to start by saying that we have actually got like a really nice community size already, and that community will be important as we go forward. So, you know, this is somewhere where the community can actually help and play a role in getting the word out there, and even just tiny little things like retweeting something. You know, we do have a marketing channel where we post things for just being simple retweets, comments on tweets, thumbs up on videos, sharing videos, that type of thing. It really does help. Every little interaction that we get from the community helps us just get pushed out to a wider and wider audience. So that's the starting point for us. You know, we have got a strong community already, but we obviously want to build on that quite significantly. So some of the things that we're looking to do, we will be doing quite a lot of outreach to influencers, explaining the opportunity to them, because actually a lot of YouTube influencers, they don't make as much money as you might think that they do. You know, the advertising revenues that they get from YouTube are very, very small and things. And so, like, you know, we get approached by influencers all the time to say, you know, I'll promote you to hundreds of thousands of my viewers for like $300. Well, actually, if they were to come in and create some pro strategies and just promote their own strategies to their audience, they would earn far more than that. You know, it's a residual income potentially forever, you know. So it's quite low input needed from them, and you know, they can leverage their audience. So we definitely want to go out and explain the opportunity to influencers. And again, if people in the community are aware or in contact with influencers, let them know that there's an opportunity there for them to build their own strategies and to earn like a really nice residual income from it. So that's a big part of what we want to do. We think that it fits really nicely with like influencers bringing their users in as passive on the passive side. We've also been doing a lot of work. So we have a lot of partners, many that we haven't really even like published on the website yet. We're connected to so many different chains and protocols. Like we really are extremely sort of well connected now. And it's useful for them to promote Weave because we build on top of a lot of these like DEXs and chains and things like that. We're very much like working with these protocols and for kind of mutual benefit. So we do have a lot lined up in terms of asking, you know, our partners if they will work with us with some co-marketing and things like that. And I think, you know, some of these protocols that we work with have massive communities. So I think once we can get more outspoken and do more demos and things like that on their communities, then that will be like a real, I think that'll be the point in which we start to gather quite a bit of momentum off the back of that. We do have other like assets and things like that as well. Of course, you know, we already have a few kind of YouTubers that are kind of well within our community. I've got, you know, my TradeWise channel. I don't have like a huge number of subscribers, but I've had over 500,000 views on that channel, and also, you know, quite good at working the algorithms to get content found. So I'll be doing quite a lot with my YouTube channel. My blog also gets thousands of visits per month. So we've got these kind of assets and things that we can use that are at our disposal as well. And you know, my background is in search engine optimization and digital marketing anyway. So we'll be looking to leverage different sort of assets that we have available, driving traffic in from various sources as well. We're also doing a bit of a focus on like the CeFi side and traditional sort of finance. We really like the idea of bringing in like traditional finance that's kind of struggling to kind of bridge it over into crypto. That you'd be surprised at the number of like funds and things that they've all got their eye on crypto, but they don't quite know the way in. So we are, from my sort of banking days when I was in wealth management, you know, in my early career, you know, I've got quite a few contacts in the funds sector, and we're already actually in conversation with some larger, more sort of institutional size investors as well. This is more like sort of stuff that we can do more on like a one-to-one sort of old school doing business and sitting down around the table and talking about bringing in like TVL and creating sort of solutions for their clients, basically to make it easy to bring in their sort of passive users, if you will. Another thing is that the beauty of Weave tailored solutions, like this is where I think for me, like the whole project just took on a whole new level of potential is with tailored solutions where we integrate Weave directly into some of these other, you know, large protocols. You know, once we can get a few of those going, that they will be marketing that for us, and we're basically tapping directly into their TVL, and we'll grow directly off the back of that as well. So, you know, obviously we have our own plan to grow Weave Hub, which is, you know, the dApp that we have. But yeah, the technology is so powerful, and you know, we're really excited by the idea of basically other protocols promoting us for us, basically by integrating the software into their own dApps. And last of all, we do want to be sort of getting out there in the real world, attending events, maybe hosting some of our own events, that type of thing as well. Just really kind of getting active in communities, you know, digitally and in person as well. So we're not short of different ways that we can promote this. We've got a lot that we want to do. Again, you know, I think our marketing is very ambitious. I'd like us to kind of stand apart from other projects with the type of marketing that we're able to do. We have a really big scope. We've got big potential, both, you know, we can bring in passive users, we can bring in pro users, we can bring in, you know, experienced yield farmers, we can bring in protocols. So we've got lots of different angles, lots of different ways that we can grow. So, you know, about half of the team that we have at Weave, you know, we've been preparing for this. We're so itching, raring to go. So we just can't wait to get started with it all, basically. And and really start to grow and bring the users in and just start to see it all taking off. All right, so now let's talk about the Weave token for a little bit. So the first question that actually came through as soon as I posted the link to the AMA, what is the price prediction for Weave, please? So like I 100% get like where that question's come from, and it's probably a question that most of you watching this are thinking, you know, that's the kind of ultimate question. It's not one that we can directly answer. We can't just sit here and say it will be this price on this date. We just can't do that. We can't sort of speculate quite in that way. But we do actually really want to talk about the token because it's, you know, it's very important to us, and we know it's very important to you as well. So we do want to commit quite a good chunk of this AMA to talking about the token. And, you know, as long as I think you understand what the use cases are, what we think about the token, where, you know, what the potential is, I suppose, you know, looking at other protocols and that type of thing, then hopefully this kind of question you can make, you know, you can make your own mind up and you can make your own decision as to, you know, where you think that the token will go. So for us, the token is really all about linking it to the actual dApp. And, you know, our main focus when it comes to token is having the best possible use cases for our token. So we want people to be incentivized. We want it to be like a good thing, positive thing for people to own the token, but we also want it to be interlinked fully with the actual dApp itself. So all the effort we put into the token is around use cases. And I actually think that we started with good use cases, but with the use cases that we added recently, I think that we've got probably some of the best use cases out there of any token. You know, most tokens out there, you can maybe just stake it and that's it. And that's just not what we wanted for our token. So that's the starting point for us, definitely is pure use case for the Weave token.
To touch on Weave Tailored as well and how the token is involved with that. So all the revenue that goes via Weave Tailored and any connected partners who have a white label solution of our platform, a large percentage of that will go back to us, increasing the revenue and the revenue sharing model that we have, therefore increasing token demand. But yeah, also, you know, it also brings more awareness to the platform when we say powered by Weave on all of these tailored solutions. So we're really looking forward to talking about this with more protocols, and also once we've got it confirmed, the first announcement of who we're going to be working with as well. Just to give a teaser, we've got a couple of major DEXs who are very interested in working with Weave, and we'll also be sending off a number of proposals and having a number of conversations with quite established platforms within the space as well, who are just really keen to increase their yield. And I think Andres is going to share a bit on our vision as well.
Yes, for sure. So our vision became even bigger than we had it in the beginning. There's so much, like with the Weave tailored solution, which came to it. And when we realized also our own potential and the potential of the platform, integrating it into other DeFi protocols, and not how we've been doing it right now, we integrate them, but also give them our technology. And also, especially after we had the feedback from different platforms that they are quite interested in our technology and want to have that on their own page. So this is why it took a little bit longer for us to deliver. And we know that we've been lacking a little bit behind, but there is just so much potential for the platform and our ecosystem that I honestly, a biased opinion, but I think that there's so much more to come and there's a bright future ahead of us.
Yeah, when we announced like the kind of new ecosystem, I suppose, you know, we've got the tailored solutions, we've got the hub, and we've even got the swap as well. You know, that was a major sort of turning point for me, from just kind of having like a small community project and like a fun protocol where we have, you know, this great piece of tech, but, you know, it's just kind of small and just us kind of thing, to really just throwing it open. And just the potential now, I think, is absolutely massive. And you know, we were already having very good conversations with some large protocols, as Stephen said. You know, if we can get 10 to 20 of those on our dApp, you know, doing tailored solutions, then we become one of the biggest protocols in DeFi. It's as simple as that. So, you know, we can't guarantee, we can't promise that we will be like a top 50 or a top 20 project, but I can assure you that that's what we want. That's what we're motivated by. That's what we want Weave to become. That's how high our ambitions are. We want to be one of the top projects. And like I say, I think the new ecosystem that we have now will allow us to it's given us the potential to hit that, and that's definitely what we're striving for.
Yeah, that's totally right. DeFi is such a massive growth sector. There's so much potential for the space, and we're really excited to be part of that. And I think when we see new all-time highs in the space, that's going to really show where Weave is at, and yeah, kind of hopefully you guys will see how far we'll have come as well by that time.
Okay, so the next question then on the token. So do you plan on adding any more use cases to the Weave token in the future to increase its value? So yes, absolutely. So this ties in with what we've been saying. Use cases are super important to us. So we already had quite a lot of use cases when we announced like the new ecosystem. The Weave token underpins all of this. Everything we're talking about, from tailored solutions to the dApp, at Hub and the swap, all of this is underpinned by the Weave token anyway. But yeah, we absolutely, so I'll bring up now, actually, I'll show you quickly the current use cases and the draft of the updated white paper that I'm working on right now. You'll see in red the ones that are the new use cases that we're adding. This is basically something where we don't really ever want to stop adding use cases. So we've already got plans and ideas for some additional use cases. But you can see just from the current white paper that we already have a heck of a lot of use cases that are going to be coming into effect very shortly.
Yeah, so we are reviewing these constantly, and we're going to be working with some of our existing partners and our chain contacts to really enhance these, but also just ask some trusted individuals that we've known in the space for a while to get their input and really extract all of their knowledge and make the platform the best it can be. And I think for us as well, it's a really big learning experience because, as Johnny said, we're always wanting to grow the use cases. So we'll always be reviewing this. It won't be like a completed product, just like with the platform in many senses. We're always going to be improving the functionality and introducing new features, and we want that to very much be the same with the token as well.
Okay, guys, so that's all the questions. Like I say, if you didn't get an answer to your question, perhaps if you had like specific questions about using the dApp, etc., then please jump over to Discord and Telegram. People will be really happy to help you. Just before we close out, I just wanted to just ask, I suppose, each of the co-founders just for like a closing final thought of everything that we've talked about and where you think the project's at, and we'll leave it at that. So, Andreas, what are your kind of closing thoughts? What are your final thoughts on where we're at with everything?
Yes, my final thoughts or my final words I want to say is I want to apologize once more for the frustration, the potential frustration users might have had. And I'm here to promise that we have done a lot under the hood to prevent this kind of feeling that you're missing out on the progress on the dev team, that we will be way more vocal as a dev team. You will see progress way quicker appearing, and just make sure that you understand and that you feel the same way we feel, that we're working as hard as we can on the project, and we're trying to do as much as we can to deliver what you as our community deserve. And we as a dev team stay as strong as we can behind the project.
Yeah, so on a similar note to Andreas, just thank you guys for your commitment. It really is appreciated. We know that we're bringing something very innovative and exciting and new into the space, and we really hope to shift the whole of DeFi space forward to really, make it get put on the map as a positive force for society. Personally as well, for myself, I really, since I've jumped into DeFi, I've seen it as such a great way to make finance accessible and sustainable for everybody involved with it. And yeah, really appreciate your guys' commitment to the project, and looking forward to the journey that we're going to go on from now on.
Okay, yeah, great. So just I guess from my point of view, my conviction about this project has never been stronger, and I do feel as though like kind of, yes, we've taken some pretty big blows over the last few months. It's been challenging. We've talked about that quite openly in this AMA, but you know what? Like, I feel like we've come out of it far stronger. We're very strong as a unit. Our goals and ambitions are completely, you know, haven't wavered at all. If anything, we've come out of it much more efficient, much more productive, and I think you'll see that coming over the next few months. So for me, this kind of period, this difficult period that we've been through, has actually made my conviction stronger, and I can't wait to see things really rolling out and really getting going. That's what motivates me. So, you know, we're working harder than ever, you know, to deliver things as much as we possibly can. And yeah, just bear in mind that we're still at the very start of what we hope to be a very long and fruitful journey. So super excited for the future. And, you know, hopefully this has helped you just understand some of the challenges and where we're at and where we're wanting to go. But do look out. I think over the coming weeks, what we'll do is, once we sort of feel that the dApp is where we want it to be, you will see like more from us on the marketing side, things like that. We'll also try and have more regular updates talking about like the exciting side of the project, right? New integrations, new partnerships, all that type of thing. So we're really at that point now. Like Stephen said earlier, I think we're about 2 to 4 weeks away from like kind of going at full tilt with the growth side of things. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you for joining me on the call as well, Stephen and Andreas. I'm sure the community will much appreciate that. Show some love, guys. You know, let us know your feedback in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up. Share this video around so that people can kind of see the projects and what we're working on. And yeah, we look forward to communicating with you all in our various social media channels. Thanks a lot for watching, and bye for now.